Hey there, everybody. Time for tonight's Facebook Live tractor video. Let a couple people get on watch here. We got a little John Deere BI here. We got the last few days we've had some, hey Brad, we've had some really cool European tractors on here. So I thought, let's get something green or sort of green on here, because so many of you folks are John Deere green fans. I wanted to show this tractor a little bit, and I might even make a few sort of political comments about John Deere tractors, which are good. Don't worry. This is a little John Deere BI, of which something around, I think 100 or so were built. And I kind of always wanted one, and this one came up for sale a year or two ago. And I bought it, and I kind of bought it to resell. And then I walked around and I decided, man, I really like that thing. So the John Deere BI is an outgrowth of the BR/BO, which was made in the kind of the unstyled period, made late 30s to late 40s, right in there. Don't expect me to be perfect on that, and you're welcome to comment and correct me on that. But a BI is very much like a BR or BO. And when John Deere decided to design the industrial tractor, what they did is it's just a little bit different than the ag tractor. And what it is, a BI has a different frame. A BI has these bowl holes right here for bolting on a crane or a blade or anything like that, as well as these and these, which a BO or BR did not have. There are a couple of other differences too. A BI, this rear wheel casting is different. And the reason is, instead of having your brakes on the back of the transmission, the little drums turning, if you look right down in here, I don't know if I can show it or not, but there's a great big brake drum inside that casting, and this thing has huge brakes. And the reason was because these were used in factories, so they could pull pull stuff in a factory, and they'd often pull really heavy weights. And so then you'd have a left and a right brake, as well as this big parking brake, which is different than an ag tractor. And they also had, I don't really know why, and you John Deere experts might know, a little bitty band brake on the transmission here too. I don't know if that's for an emergency or what it is. And other than the pan, on a different seat too. They had a fancy cushion seat, whereas an ag tractor had the little pan seat. That's the biggest difference. Hey Daniel, the biggest difference between a BI and a regular BO or BR. With that said, I'm probably not going to start it because I don't have Nate to hold the camera. He had to go. He had something else to do. But I think there's somewhere close to 100 BIs made, and there was a fellow who had on Facebook just recently. He had messaged kind of all of us who owned one, and I think he ended up with a list of 67 owners. And there's something like that of these tractors that have survived. Some of these were also built with, excuse me, like a gear-driven type crane and stuff like that. And I believe that's what this pad right here is, where this case on an ag tractor didn't have a spot to put this on. This does right here. We can drive something off it. And a number of them had that, which was an option that was hard to find. And what I wanted to say about a tractor like this is, the people who collect two cylinders tend to be in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I'm afraid, in my 50s. And people my age are collecting new generation tractors, or people even a little younger who want a tractor with a turbo, a 4320 John Deere, a John Deere with an M&W turbo. And what's happened in the last few years is, if you do like two cylinders, there's some great deals out there right now. And I thought I'd say this would illustrate that quite well. I can remember 15 years ago or so, maybe a little more, maybe close to 20, when we were selling antique tractors like crazy, anything we could get. These BIs and AIs, I know there were a couple of AIs that changed hands in the $75,000 range. I actually sold one for close to that. Now BIs, they got higher and higher and higher, and some of these BIs, I think, traded hands in the 30s, maybe even a couple of over $40,000. And I always wanted one. I thought, well, hell, that's crazy. I'm never going to buy one. And believe me, I'm not really a guy to buy a restored tractor. As you all know, I like original. But this son of a gun was about 2 years ago. It came driving through Polk's auction. My friend Jeff Polk has an auction a couple times a year in Indiana. And I think it was at $97.50, and I raised my hand once for 10 grand, and I bought it. And I thought, well, I can make some money on that. So I walked around it a couple times, and I looked at it. I said, that son of a gun's pretty nice. I might just keep that. And the same day, they sold one not as nice for like $8,500. There's been a couple sold since for less than 10. So what I'm trying to illustrate is that some of you and some of us who 20 years ago wanted these tractors, and the prices went just absolutely nutty crazy, and we said, that's freaking crazy, I'm not going to pay that kind of money. Now they're kind of attainable, you know, especially one like this, you know. It's already restored. And I think there's at least, I don't know who the author was, one of the books by Motor Books or somebody. This was featured for 2 pages in one of those books. I've even got the book, but I forgot which one. But, you know, like I said, I'm not really one to buy a restored tractor. But you know what? Much as most of us love original tractors, don't be afraid to look at a good restored tractor today, because, you know, there's some damn good bargains out there. Now, as the older guys, older people who've had 2-cylinders and steel wheel tractors and tractors of that era, there are some great bargains to be had. Now, if you want a really old Rumley on steel, those super old tractors, I think they're still going up. But these kind of ones that the World War II veterans know from growing up and that they farmed with, there's some great buys in them. And with all that said, this is a cool little tractor to drive around. It's got a hell of a fast road gear. I think it's faster than a regular BO or BR. And I always liked the yellow paint. I had an AR. In fact, I've had 2 AO. Let me say that again. AI, industrial. I sold one a few years ago, a real nice one for somewhere around 50 grand, an unrestored one, pardon me, for 50 grand. Then I had a restored one that we sold for quite a bit. And then didn't own one for a lot of years. And this one came along, and this one we're going to keep. I like it. Needs a little carburetor work. It runs okay, but it could run a little better. And it's just a cool little tractor to have. I'm not watching your comments. I'm sorry, we're in the sun a little bit. But I've kind of talked enough for tonight. Tomorrow night, I got a great little Austrian tractor made in Austria that I'm going to show. And right here, we're just talking about the little John Deere BI. And if anybody has a BI, or even a BR or a BO, these little John Deeres are cool because they got the 2-cylinder sound, and they're little. They go on a trailer nice, and they're awesome to take to a show. And if you want to go to a plow day, they'll still pull a 2-bottom plow. So, you know, don't be afraid to buy yourself. If it's not a BI, buy a BR, BO. They're a cool little tractor. And it's great to see a group of people watching. I'm glad to see a lot of you folks watch this stuff. That one we did about the VF crawler last night has almost 2,000 views already. I can see what's popular and what isn't. But thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. See ya.